I'm walking around Bushwick, and I'm going to do a quick ramble on nervous system regulation and how to ground and regulate. I had a conversation with a girl earlier this week, and she was basically this like startup founder girl boss, but just started getting super stressed out and anxious, and I just chatted with her for a few seconds, but I realized that she didn't know this concept, and I feel like it's a really important concept to understand, so I'm going to talk about it today. And okay, so I mean, I'm not an expert here. I'm just like saying the concept, so like it's like you should know about this. I don't know why they don't teach it in schools, but it feels like a big deal when I learned it, which is basically that like you have a nervous system and it can be regulated or dysregulated. There's like, you can have like a sympathetic or parasympathetic response, but the way I think about it is more like you have like fight, flight, freeze response. Sometimes you can throw in fawn, but Heidi Priebe has an excellent video on this, and I recommend you check that one out where she goes into depth, and I will link it because she does like a much better job of speaking to it, but I will summarize it here, which is the idea that like, imagine you're like in this field and there's a lion chasing you, and when it's very far away, you can like run away, you're like in flight. At some point it's like 10 feet away and you like turn and you're like gonna fight, and that is like your fight response. And then at some point the lion's actually like, you know, about to bite into your neck, and at that point what can happen is your nervous system dissociates. You freeze and you dissociate and you like numb out and lose consciousness, and this is actually a very kind thing for you because you're about to experience a crap ton of pain. So this metaphor is like really helpful for me in just understanding the various states that my nervous system can be in. So when you're fighting with your partner, or you're like just triggered in some situation, you can understand like, oh, there are certain states that my nervous system can be in, and like especially when you're in like that, like I feel like it shows up a lot in relationships with like anxious avoidant dances, where like one person's just trying to like reach for security, and they're reaching for it in different ways. So like the anxious one's probably trying really hard to connect to the other, whereas the other partner is trying really hard to like have like to like kind of guard against the other, and this can lead to a very like it can lead to like a standstill or like a locked dynamic. It's a little bit rambly. Hopefully this is useful. Another thing that I find useful is this. Oh look, actually look at the sunset. I find it useful to talk through like grounding exercises. So for me, being in nature is one of the most grounding things. Just there's something really relaxing about going out into a field away from society and realizing that like the world is calm and it's beautiful and it exists and it will continue existing, long before and long after your silly issues come to an end, and like it kind of helps reframe things and make your concerns or your drama, or like your, you know, also your pain and issues just seem more manageable. There's an exercise that you can do to relax your pelvic floor. This is something I learned from a somatic body worker, somatic therapist. I think it's especially useful for women. And then I also do something that's more like IFS, which is, wow, look at this mural. Which is like, because of my IFS work, I feel like there's this reservoir of self energy that I can always sort of drop into and tap into. Another exercise I've learned is to like stand on grass and like shoot your energy, you know, shoes off. You can like have your feet on the ground, on the grass, or like your hands also, but you can shoot energy deep into the ground as far as you can go, and it's like literally like releasing it into the depths of the earth, and the earth can hold it. What else do I do to ground? Calling someone who knows, like co-regulation seems like a big concept. Like, call a friend or someone that you love who cares about you and is typically good at comforting you, and talk to them. Ideally, like, I mean, you can just talk to them. That's one method of co-regulation, but also you can just like hug them, like physical co-regulation, hugs, cuddles, just being close. Journaling, introspection, just something that's helpful about journaling sometimes is like you take a step back and like can expand your awareness from any particular single issue and just take stock of the entire, of more like a bird's eye view, or like the state of everything that's going on, not just whatever your mind is locked into at that moment. I think I'm going to stop there, but this is just like a few thoughts on nervous system regulation and grounding exercises. So cool. See you guys.